Start the recording. So welcome everybody. Welcome to Satsang. So good to have you all here. And a big happy new year to everybody. Kind of feels like an accomplishment just to have made it. So there's just this moment. Nothing else is happening. There's just this. However it's appearing. Whatever's happening. Sounds appearing, disappearing. Thoughts arising, falling away. And the wholeness is already here prior to any doing. Wholeness is already the case. It's not contingent upon you working really hard to become enlightened. That's a story, powerful one, because if you've been suffering, it sounds like the magic ticket. But nobody gets enlightened because there are no separate individual people. It's just the me and its story of seeking. Which can drop away. And when it does, what's left? Without a me, there's just this moment. Joan, can you do me a favor and turn off those blinking lights? They're a little distracting. Thank you. So doing is great for going out and getting food, doing shopping, taking care of your body. All that kind of stuff is for doing. But what you are cannot be found in doing. What you are, you are. And what you are, we can't say. You can't define it. It's funny though, if you think about it, it's just the me that wants to define it. Without a me around, nothing's trying to define this moment. I was watching some squirrels play tag on my lawn today. They were just playing tag. They didn't need a reason. They didn't need a story. They were just chasing around each other in a circle. Now, if the squirrel had a me, it would be trying to do tag right. Oh, he got me. I got to get him back. Oh, I missed him. I'm no good at tag. Now, I know this is shocking. In fact, what could be more shocking than what you're hearing here at Satsang? Because Satsang is challenging the most precious thing you hold on to. What is more precious to you than the me, your me? It's more important than religion. It's more important than politics. You would give up all that, but not the me. So that's why hearing this message is so confronting. Most me's don't want to hear this. It's, don't tell me I don't exist. Let's see, Leo's iPad. Oh, there's Kim. Here's Kim. Hi, Kim, welcome. So now would be a good time to open it up to any questions, comments, sharings, arguments. Michael, you're full of shit. I am a me, you just don't know. You don't know my problems, right? Because what's a me without a problem? So go ahead and unmute. Feel free to jump in. Don't just buy it. You got to see this for yourself. You have to see the emptiness, that everything is inherently empty. It's not what you think it is.
I'm having a hard time with this.
Good, good. Thank you. Bless you, Diane. Speak up. Don't buy this man's.
Okay, so I'm a widow, and I'm. It's not new, but today I went to a friend's house who just lost her husband a few days ago, and she very much into the me of feeling the loneliness, of feeling this loss, of like wishing she could do something to get him back. She's a psychologist. She's very knowledgeable. She's very spiritual, but I think if I told her you're not a me, as she would say, I won't use the word online. Uh, but wouldn't go along with it, as I probably wouldn't have either when I lost my husband, and many things that the me that came to her today and brought her this beautiful flower arrangement, and seeing the gratefulness of somebody that was reaching out to her. I don't know if that's not me, who that is.
Yeah, good. Well, you almost answered your own question there, right at the end, at the tail end. Right? Well, if I don't know, if that's not me, I don't know
who it is.
Exactly. So that's what Satsang's pointing to, is to stay in that little space of, well, if it wasn't me that brought the flowers. And by the way, I do want to say that it is completely inappropriate to say to somebody who's grieving, there's no me.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is, there is a compassion and a love when authentic, when you really see this and you realize, and I know it sounds like words when I say we're all the same, but we're all the same.
I'm only 4'10", and nobody's near my size here, I'll bet.
Well, you're also unique, and that's the paradox.
Yeah.
Because we're all the same one looking out of all beings' eyes. It is the one. There are not, 8 billion different beings, and not counting all the animals and insects. So there's one being, but each being is unique in its expression. I mean, I was watching a spider the other day on my window. It was navigating the rain because we had a kind of unusual rain here a few days ago. And I was watching how he was walking around the drops and just studying. And I was noticing that every being has a particular way of living. So he didn't care about my apartment. His interest was, the plant and the wind, the rain, and the spider web, and what he was going to eat. This world didn't exist for him. And each being is just seeking its own, trying its best. So if you can recognize that all creatures just want to be basically free. No creature wants to be put in prison. I mean, if I took that spider and put him in a little, aspirin container, he wouldn't like it. And that's what we do in our mind when we take ourselves to be a me. Make no mistake about it. The me is a prison. Now, if someone doesn't see this, Diane, I would not ever try and talk them into it or even bring it up. This is the kind of message that you either, something in your gut, let's say, resonates with it, like, yeah, something about emptiness will resonate. But if it doesn't, then there's a million other groups that cater to the me that will tell you many ways. And it's not to say that that's not appropriate. So it could be very appropriate to go see a psychologist or get counseling on the personality. If we take things too personally, or if we're obsessed with our thoughts, then meditation or mindfulness can be useful. But that is not what we're talking about. This is way bigger, much more sweeping.
Okay. So did the me not paint that picture? Who painted the painting?
I'm saying no, the me is a phantom, and we don't know, it just happened. There's a mystery, Diane. We can't say how anything happens.
Oh, I could go along with that because I have no idea what I did. I just play with color on canvas and whatever shows up, shows up. So yeah, I can go along with that because I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, that's honest. That's honest. Anybody else?
I
So
think,
I guess, okay, I was just gonna say spiritual. How do you relate this to being spiritual? Because I see myself as being spiritual and believing in it being higher than myself.
I'm so glad you're here, Diane. This is your first time, right?
Yes, I had been to your house many, many, many years ago, but
Oh, you did. Where do you live?
in Culver City.
Oh, okay, very good. So, can you restate your question one more time for me?
I said I consider myself spiritual.
Oh,
I
yeah.
believe that there's something greater than myself, or
Yeah.
God's piece of all of us. I'm not sure how that fits into this.
Yeah, very good. Okay. So the me, the predictable path for the me is usually trying all the material objects in the world. People, houses, money, cars, success, fame, whatever it is that they think will make them happy. Once you've exhausted all those and you see that they don't actually scratch the itch, you know, maybe you had the guy for a minute or the gal for a minute, but then something happened and now they're not here anymore. Things seem to change and be out of our control. So we hear about spirituality and we're like, aha, that's the ticket. And I'm going to give it to you straight. There is no difference between seeking for materiality in spirituality than there is in physical possessions. No difference. They're both claiming to get something that you don't currently have. That's the goal of spirituality. And trust me, I was the biggest seeker out there. I was listening to Tim Kliss today, who was interviewed on Nothing FM. The new interview of his is up on YouTube. And he was talking about, at one point, he was ordering 12 non-duality books a week off of Amazon and watching 30 to 40 hours of non-duality speakers. So it can get a little crazy when we seek. But the solution is that Tim never found what he was looking for. The seeker will never find. You're not going to find. You can keep looking, and you should keep looking until you're convinced. The peace is when the seeking ends.
I don't feel like I'm really seeking anything other than, I guess, peace and all those things you talked about are just things. And to me, what the world's about is love and being love. Yeah. And I don't know how that fits in here.
Well, it most certainly does, Diane, because it's not personal. See, the kind of love that most humans have toward each other is a very personal, I'll scratch your back if you scratch my back kind of a love. It's conditional. Humans are not, it's not possible to give unconditional, as much as we'd like to, and it sounds noble, it's just literally a me cannot be unconditional. It's just not possible. So the unconditional love is already here. It's already the case. It's already right here now. And that's where the peace is, Diane. The peace is always here, but why don't we experience it? Because we're lost in thought. We're lost in story. We're up in our head. And so the peace is nowhere to be found.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you mention you were an artist, Diane?
Yes, I guess I am.
So,
I'm afraid
Michael,
to say that.
so when you're doing your art, and Michael, I mean, when you're doing your art and everything disappears, and just what's your medium? What do you do?
Acrylic on canvas.
Yeah, so when you're in the moment and you're in the zone,
Mm-hmm.
are you thinking, or are you
No.
just letting the painting happen?
I'm just letting it happen because I don't feel like I don't know how to make anything. I just play with color.
So what we're suggesting here is you expand on that.
Can you tell me a little more? Say a little more?
Well, you're not thinking when you're painting, it's just happening.
Mm-hmm.
Expand on that. Back me up, Michael.
You're on your own on this, Joan.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's my, that's my kind of take, is if you're not thinking, you're just painting.
Yeah, mostly, but so it's like, okay, what color am I going to use next? So there is a little bit of thinking because I have to decide, do I want yellow or do I want orange?
Yeah,
Listen,
right.
listen, Joan, hold up.
That's all I was
Okay.
pointing to. I know.
Guys,
I'm done.
no, it's good. Let's get this clear. We need to this is all good stuff. There's nothing wrong with a thought. Can we get this out here?
Okay, good.
Get this on the table. There's literally nothing wrong with a thought. When it's my thought, when I'm under the illusion that it's my thought, do you see? Do you see the difference? Those two little letters, MY? Two little letters. Thoughts are thoughts. Stories are stories. They're beautiful. That's all we have, guys, is our stories. I'm telling you, this moment, I know this sounds incredible. This moment never changes. It appears to. It's an appearance. But think about it. It never stops changing, so it never actually becomes anything.
Pretty far out.
I told you.
That's why you're here, girl.
This is TNT. Really, this is, as they say, the last house on the block. Because really, the difference between non-duality and all the other meetings and spiritual groups is there's nothing here for the me. We don't cater to the me because it's not recognized as real. The me is an appearance. It comes and goes. It is not you.
Something told me to be here.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
I was going to say, let me take a shot at something that's brewing as you all are talking, which is in psychology, there's this thing called parts work. And parts work is where you sort of sit in meditative place and you get in touch with a part of yourself that's blocking you or that's scared or that's this or that's that. And if you do enough parts work, you suddenly start to realize there's not one me, there's like 1,000 me's inside of you. There's a me for every second you ever live that you could get in touch with in this parts work. And it was in doing that kind of work where the realization came, okay, then who am I in this very moment? If I have all these parts that are incorporated in me, how can I possibly, there's not one me. There's not one entity. There's no way to pinpoint in time a single me. because I can pinpoint all these parts that came through this timeline thing that we talk about. And so if you look at the parts work, I then started to think, well, who's the one observing the parts? What is the observer? There's these thoughts happening, but there's something that's aware of the thoughts. And what I realized was I am what the awareness is the thing that sees what's happening, that sees is the wrong word, but that witnesses what's happening, that witnesses the thinking, that witnesses all of the maybe discomfort or energy that goes through us, but that there's no one actually controlling the happening. Does that make any sense?
Does to me. I think we all have a lot of parts.
Yeah, sorry, I had to mute myself. I've got like music and a cat playing next to me. That could be very distracting, but anyway, I'm glad it made some sense.
It's funny to say that in this moment, which is the only moment there ever is, there is no past and there is no future. The me lives in time. And so it imagines a past and it imagines it's getting somewhere to a future that it hopes will be better than this moment. But you guys, listen to me. There's nothing better than this moment, because this moment is all that is.
Yes, because if you start looking for something better than this moment, if you take yourself outside of this moment and start looking for something better, that's when you're on a never-ending cycle of, you're just on a never-ending, I don't know about a cycle, you're on a never-ending line of trying to make the moment better, and this, which just leads to suffering upon suffering upon suffering.
Yeah.
Because I've tried it. haven't we all? And you solve this problem that you've got that you think is going to make it better. It's better for 5 minutes if you're lucky, and then you've got another one.
Yeah.
To make better, and then you might be okay for another 2 minutes, but then you've got another one, and I've done it enough times to know that it's never ending.
Yeah.
So best I stay in the present moment, because outside of that, going to that future thing doesn't work.
So this is what I'm saying about it being a mystery. Wait a second, Michael. You're saying there's no past and there's no future. Then how does this moment keep changing, right? It appears to change. We're not denying that it definitely appears to change. And the answer is no clue. That's what it means to be a mystery. That's the beauty. And the mind is not going to be happy with not knowing. And the mind's good for knowing all kinds of things. If you want to make a chocolate cake, you need a recipe. The mind's great for that. And some cake mix would help too. But your true nature, it's not the mind's territory. So rather than admit it doesn't know, it tries to guess what you are. And it tries to guess at what it thinks will make you happy.
And your next door neighbour tries to do something to make you happy, and it actually pisses me off. How would he know? He thinks he's helping me. How would he know? I don't want to be helped. I didn't ask for it, but yeah. So that's how stupid the mind is. It thinks it knows the answers for other people.
Oh, God. So true. Because what may be your idea of help, like maybe the person just wants quiet for 5 minutes and then you come along talking. It's so true, Faith.
I've got one of those, except for it involved my own mind, because for 7 years have wanted a pug puppy. I finally got one on December 23rd. And can I tell you how frustrating and maddening it is to parent a puppy? It is. I thought that this was going to make me happy. I envisioned myself going on walks in the park with the puppy, getting more exercise. I imagined the puppy putting me on a schedule. None of that has happened. Instead, he bites me relentlessly. He eats everything. And I'm constantly either doing what the trainer told me, which is clap and yell no or stop, or like trying to shove some food or something in his mouth so that he'll stop biting furniture. I would have made a really bad human being parent, by the way.
Okay, so what's his name?
His name is Pugsley, and he's super cute. And I will post a picture of him instead of this dove.
Okay.
But I just have to say, my mind told me for 7 years that this would be a good thing. And for the last 2 weeks, I have been cursing my mind.
Yeah, I was thinking the other day how my mind sometimes drives me crazy. I told it to my brother, my mind is driving me crazy.
Yeah. How many can relate to that? Anybody? Yeah. I mean, we talked about this last week about suicide being the ultimate mind turner offer. I just can't live with my thoughts anymore. I just can't take it, right? That's
one of the saving points is that when mind is driving me crazy, then I remember I'm full of shit. And then everything's okay again.
Yeah, well, that's why I say that your knowledge is not and this is quite a shocking thing to say, especially if you've spent a lot of money on higher education. But your knowledge is not doing you any favors. Not when it comes to this.
It just makes you arrogant, doesn't it?
Well, nothing's knowable.
Yeah, well, then it's a form of arrogance.
Yeah. But I mean nothing. I mean, you don't know what a damn thing is. You know the word, and that creates the illusion that because we know the word, we know what the thing is. That's part of the magic trick.
Hey, Daniel, will you give us your take on the word you always use, like witness, like the thoughts?
Sure.
How you
I
do,
don't talk.
how do you do it?
Well, you can't. And I don't talk a lot about witness, but who was it? Was it Diane that was telling us a minute ago about, what is it that's not, that's observing? Okay. So thoughts are always showing up. Everything is showing up, but there's some quality that is not showing up, that's seeing what's showing up. Okay. So that's the witness, right? So notice if I'm getting involved in thoughts and I'm getting, this life is a problem in this moment, it's because I'm identifying with the thoughts. I'm not just seeing them. Is that talking to what you're asking? Now, that's not exactly what Michael's talking about, because to be the witness is also an identity. So then there's also noticing that what I am is not anything at all. And there is this tendency to keep, we call it reifying, right? Kind of turning into an object that has a story, and then seeing, oh no, wait, I'm not that either, right? So I'm not even the witness, but it's a good thing to be the witness, to do that as a practice, right? Because that gets me out of the bind. But go on, say what you want, where were you going with this?
No, I just thought be nice to have either of you telling us how you go about, thoughts come up, mostly negative, of course. And then not, identify them with it, but also just go with it.
Right.
Like, oh, and then as opposed to, oh, hello, okay, thanks. See you
Right, but
later.
also see, okay, the thought comes in. Well, who is that thought about? The thought is telling a story. And there's also an energy there of what to do with this thought, right? This is like information that I can do something with. Well, who's the one that wants to do? And what is that doing about? Because, and feel and notice, oh, that doing is about this project of trying to make my life better in the future, make my next moment better than this. And that's the me. That's the me in and the me is always doing that. Right? There's never a me that isn't constant. That's what we call seeking. But you can start to really get to know that. That's the value of because that's what the observer sees. And then the observer can feel, oh, there's a tendency to want to do something here, but no, there is nothing to do. And also because, as Joan was mentioning, and Michael, I don't know anything about this moment. I don't know what to do thoughts. It's the me that is using the thoughts, because as me, I know what to do with thoughts. That's why, but as the observer, I don't know, be the one who's seeing, experiencing everything that goes on, sounds, feelings, whatever. But I don't know what this is. And I can't use any of this. All I can do is witness. Does that help? Michael?
Yeah, well, good. Thank you, Dan. We can even, so the first assumption Dan talked about knowing, as I did, is that the me knows that it exists. right? I have to know I exist in order to set up my life, right? If I didn't think I existed, then all bets are off. So that's the first underlying assumption, is that you are here. And what are you here as? Well, as a me. Now, at Satsang, we challenge that head on.
Because what is not noticed is that to say I exist, that doesn't come by itself. There's another next thing is that I exist and it sucks. In other words, it's not okay. And so that then what comes with that is then this, what we call seeking, this motion to, okay, make it okay. So now once I exist in this world that just is not okay. And so that's the job. Okay, the next thing, I now have to make it okay. That all comes along with the I exist. There's never been a me that says I exist and everything is perfectly okay. It just that there's no me there. If that
Right.
if that actually but
Yeah.
that's the key that we to understand.
Right, but now it makes sense about the knowledge, because if I assume I exist, then of course I need knowledge. And of course I need my thoughts.
Right. Because that's what I use for my seeking. That's if I'm going to seek, I need some way to seek.
Yeah.
And it's using knowledge, tools, everything.
Sure.
Yeah, the whole kit.
So so to seek, I need to be here. So that's the first assumption, that you're here. But where is here? Let's look at this for a second. When you say I'm here, where is here?
My GPS tells me.
Good stuff. Thank you, Dan. Any other comments or questions?
Well, I just want to push a little more on I'm here, because what I say that's the point about it, is that begins the story. That's the beginning of the story, because I'm here means I'm here in a place that I'm separate from. I'm in a world that I'm not continuous with. I'm set apart from all the theirs. Here makes here versus there. So I'm here, and I'm limited. There's a place where I end and a place where the world starts, and there's an oppositional, because that starts to make me feel that separation, and then the seeking is what comes in for me to fix that being here and being apart from everything that is there. Anyway, I tried to say that simply. I don't think I did. But yeah, here starts the story, because then the story is me in a world with all the stuff in the world, and how do I use myself to make things okay. So all that comes from being here. And that's kind of a lot to start at the end of a satsang, but a good thing to go into for the next hour.
That was very helpful to hear, Dan. Thanks.
Oh, good, thank you. Hey, Amy.
Yeah, it's funny because at Satsang, the message is there's nothing wrong. That something is wrong is an assumption. And to make something wrong or right, notice I need a story. Without a story, where's wrong and right? Isn't it just all life unfolding chaotically, uncontrollably?
And that all will never make sense to me. No problem, nothing wrong. That the me cannot hear that. That makes no sense to the me, because there's already something wrong. That's what the me is. The me is the condition of something being wrong and seeking to fix it.
You know, if you think about it, it's impossible to have a problem without a me.
And vice versa.
It's impossible to have a problem with a me?
No, it's impossible to have a me without a problem. They're partners.
Oh, thank you. Good.
And there is no me. So it's the other part of the story.
What's that Shakespeare line, thinking makes it so?
Mm-hmm.
What was that Shakespeare line?
Yeah.
I
don't
Do you remember?
Either, yeah.
Nothing is either good nor bad. 'Tis thinking makes it so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, we've upped the class of this satsang by throwing a little Bill Shakespeare. I like it. So there's nowhere to get to. And there's no one to get to it. I want to thank everybody for coming to satsang tonight. It's so great to have all of you here for the new year. I want to thank Kim and Diane for the donations. Much appreciated. Thank you. Any other last comments or before we close out?
Such gratitude, Michael, for it all. And when some of those words, when you talk about, I don't know, it not being real, whatever, to me it's like somebody playing beautiful music on a violin. I just wrap myself into that. It's just words for the soul that's sweeter than sweet.
Bless you. Thank you, Faith. I feel the same. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Hope to see you guys next week. I'll get this up on YouTube in the next 24 hours or so. Have a great evening, everybody. Great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.